Good evening. We are going to go ahead and get started. 6:35. Thank you so much for your patience. Our live stream is still down. Swagit is still down, but we're going to go ahead and just do a voice recording of the meeting until we get Swagit up and running. I'm going to call to order and announce that a quorum is present, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everybody please stand? Thank you so much, everyone. Be seated. We're going to start with our service recognition, and Nick and I are going to go down to the podium for this one. All right. We're celebrating 5 years of service with Mr. Nick Habe. Nick Habe has proudly served the city of Meadows Place as city administrator since April of 2020, bringing with him over 2 decades of experience in city management and municipal operations. During his tenure, Nick has been instrumental in overseeing day-to-day operations, managing the city's budget, and implementing the mayor and city council's policies and strategic goals. His leadership and dedication to efficient, effective service have helped maintain City of Meadows Place as a thriving, welcoming community. Nick's strengths lie in his natural ability to lead with structure, organization, and practical approach to problem solving. Personally, I'd like to thank you for your time and attention in my onboarding process. You've been a steadying force during this mayoral transition. Thank you for 5 years of commitment and leadership. I look forward to your continued contributions to the City of Meadows Place community. Thanks. That takes us to reports, and we're going to start with Chief Gary Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As usual, we'll start out our report this evening, starting with our number of accidents. There were 14 accidents, number of arrests 6, number of calls for service 2,837, number of report calls were 44, citations for traffic 264 with charges of 701. City ordinance violation citations issued was 1. Warnings for traffic 140 with charges of 271. Our warnings for city ordinance violation were 13. Total activity count 4,291. We did have 1 assault, 1 BMV, 0 burglary of business, 0 burglary of habitation again this month, which is great. City ordinance 14 total with 3 criminal mischiefs, 1 fraud, 0 robberies. Total property checks 3,591. Thefts of 3, UUMV, unauthorized use 1. TLC program 18 pass, 3 fail with 21 contacts. During this reporting period, the breakdown on the COVs, warnings issued 3 were on solicitor, 11 for junk vehicle. Citations for the COV, 1 was issued for junk vehicle. The 14 accidents, there were only 6 that were actually reportable accidents that occurred where we actually worked the accident. They were various parts of the city. There was 1 accident in the roundabout for Councilman Stigley. It was a boulder that was hit. We did notify Parks and Public Works. The damage was estimated about $500. Moving on to the comments portion of the activity. We just go through, as you can see, the assault, and the BMV was a commercial BMV. A flock search revealed that we do have a possible suspect identified in that. So we'll be following up with our CID investigation. Status is open. Page 2, criminal mischief. Damage was 3, which was up from previous month. Those, as you can see, the damage and the cost there for each estimation by the owner. The fraud was involving a Lone Star card, as you can see there. The thefts, we had Enterprise Rent-A-Car at Sterling McCall. Sergeant Koenig was able to make contact with the renter in New Mexico who returned the vehicle. The branch manager does not want to pursue charges, so that was closed exceptional. Murphy Express, the same thing. That was beer and cell phone that was left at the church unattended, and the grass was taken. We are still following up on that. We had 0 UUMVs. Our flock safety alerts, 96. That's up 55 from the previous month. Stolen vehicles, 7. That we were alerted on, alerts for sex offender alerts, 47. 28 of those hits are 3 vehicles that are repeat vehicles. They're coming back and forth. Stolen plate alerts, 20. 12 are repeat on 1 vehicle. Gang or suspected terrorist, 2. Missing persons alert, 2. Warrants, 2. Protective order alerts, 15. Other agency hot list, 1. Violent persons, 0. Incidents that where flock was utilized, a case at Denny's while a citizen was in the restaurant, someone broke into his vehicle. It's possible that he was followed from a bank that he had visited in Houston. They were believing that he probably left his money bag in the car. The damage was about $500, and of course, the investigation status is still open as we do have some video, although CID will be continuing to search the area with other videos that are possible. Total arrest 6, DWI 1, warrant other jurisdiction was 2, evading and UCW 1, possession of a controlled substance and unauthorized carrying of a weapon 1, marijuana and failure to ID fugitive, and warrant other jurisdiction 1. And those arrests are, as you can follow in the next pages, for the next couple of pages, will dictate, report the incident and how it occurred. Notable information as we follow up on those cases that we were doing previously. One was a case of theft of service. Sergeant Koenig took a walk-in and reported PD on the rental car being at Enterprise. That's the one I mentioned earlier, and that one is closed. Another case was a burglary that occurred at Kelly's and one at Walk 1. This was a 24 case, and through video, Sergeant Koenig was able to identify the suspect, but could not identify the occupants of the suspect vehicle. Sugarland was able to identify one suspect that was involved in their burglaries doing the same exact thing. So we're using that. The DA's office is taking our charges, but may use those as a plea bargain in other cases. Following additional notes for our grant status, which are in progress, our dispatch console, currently working with our vendors for an installation date. Our car camera and body camera is still in progress as well. We have 1 car at Emergency Fleet Services now getting equipment installed. 2 have been completed, and the remaining will be scheduled for installation shortly after. The body cameras that we just got the grant on will be have come with the car system. Our guys have already been trained on them, and we are in use with those. Flock grant for the catalytic converter funding, which is for our camera systems, our flock cameras actually, is in progress. Money has been allocated. We're waiting on our initial payment. After we make the payment, then we will get the reimbursement for that payment. Following up on the TDM and FEMA recovery, our team is still working with them to finalize barrel submissions. CAT-Z, which is the administrative cost, is the only thing pending before closeout at this time. The recovery team also working with our hazard mitigation update. As you'll know, it takes about a year to put the plan together. We had some updates we needed to include to be eligible for some grant funding, and those mitigation projects such as generators and flooding, drainage rehab have been submitted for review. Patrol, glad to tell everyone that we have a new patrol officer, and if you'll stand up. This is our newest officer to our team. This is Carlos Orstoga, and he joined our MPPD and has been here for about 2 weeks in training, and in fact, today, I'm sure he had an exciting experience that he got his taser experience today. And the video is incredible. You did good. Thank you. With that, I will also let you know that we are currently at full staff once again, which is always a good thing. The camp out, which I know Parks will go over, was a huge success in the turnout, and we had no reportable incidents. And with that, that concludes PD report.
Thank you so much, Chief. Council, do we have any questions for Chief?
The only one I had was the flock seemed like it went way up this time. Was it below average before, or is this just?
It fluctuates, and as I like to say, as the bad guys figure out we have them, they typically avoid us. This is new waves coming through, and actually you can see there were some repeat cars that came back through, the sex offender, stuff like that, which caused those hits to go up. Anything else?
Just to congratulate the guys and for you as well. 0 burglary resident, 0 burglary business.
Got a good team.
An amazing stat to have because I know it's close by. It's not the same.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next up, we have Parks and Recreation report with Colleen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
This report will serve January through March. Our last event that we hosted was our family camp out, which was just this weekend. Several of you were there. Thank you for your support on that. We had 97 participants. That is a record for us. I think the highest we've had in the past was about 92, 93. So it's nice to see the numbers steadily going up, and having good weather always helps with that as well. We did add a few items this year: a mechanical bull, line dancing, harmonica lessons, in addition to our normal activities: kayaking, fishing, campfire, dinner, s'mores, and scavenger hunt. So I believe everyone had a really good time. It's always hard to get them quieted down at night. They did a fair job at that, but there were a couple of latecomers that were still setting up some tents later in the evening, so it took a little bit, but we're getting better at that. So Nick Garza, actually, we put him in charge of the event this year. That's part of our cross-training initiative to let our other staff be a part of programming events and seeing what it takes to go into it. So he did a very fine job, got lots of public feedback on that, so I was delighted to hear for his first event he did pretty darn good. Moving on, projects completed. The Community Center Phase 2, we painted all of the cabinets and the doors, and that was funded through EDC. Our lake trail maintenance, that's an ongoing process, but there were some particular areas of concern, some flooding areas, and then also some erosion around the beach and the pavilion. And so we have fluffed, added additional DG and preventative measures to keep that in place. Our maintenance closure of the Nature Center, that occurred in January, and we took, once a year we close that facility, as many of you know, and we do a deep clean maintenance. We typically try to add new features, rearrange things, and this year in particular we refabricated a closet space, 2 storage spaces. We took out a wall and made them into one, so it better stores our supplies for our animals, so it was an efficiency effort. Our Yak book drive, they successfully collected 285 books from the community, so that was a really great response that we had. They also took the time and wrote in the back covers, not for resale, free. And as of today, drove by the little libraries. They had put the books in there last weekend, and as of today, all the books are gone. So we are still having an issue with book pirates going and taking these books. We were told to put the label in the back, and we did. I don't know if they'll be able to resell those or not. I don't think so. Maybe they're using them for another purpose. I don't know. But we need to figure out some type of an initiative to deter them or get more public awareness to keep an eye on them if they see someone going over there, usually with a large tote, and filling the tote up and taking away the books. So it was a great success with our yak in our community, but unfortunately 3 of them were pirated. 2 of them are still full, but 3 are gone, unfortunately. The naming of Lake Jessup, we did that over Christmas at the event, and since then we have installed the statue and the herons at the park next to the beach. If you haven't seen it, it looks really nice there. I think that it's the right spot for that, and it looks very well. Additionally, we made some updates to the field house to meet ADA standards. Kelly, are you able to get in and out of that area better? And all right, well, that's good to hear. Please communicate with us if we need to make some other changes or you have any other recommendations over there. Staff update, I participated in the CPAC, which is Campus Planning Advisory Committee with Meadows Elementary. That's a time that we just share information, what the city's doing, what the school is doing, and how we can partner better together. And some of the things that came up in this last meeting is they'll be partnering with our children's community garden. One of the beds out there is now designated specifically for Meadows Elementary, and so they'll be utilizing that space to grow different vegetables and herbs and things. Additionally, the Old Town Meadows is set for April 25th, and they have reached out to us for our YAC volunteers, so we'll be coordinating getting our YAC students over there to assist with Old Town Meadows. Also, we have hired a new recreation coordinator, and that is Will Bolin. He started last Wednesday, and then he had his debut at our camp out this past weekend. I'm glad to say he is a strong swimmer. He rescued a kayak. Proud of him. He just jumped in and went for it. I guess we didn't train him to let him know that he didn't need to do that, but it was nice to see that he was willing and committed to the job. But Will, he's over at the Nature Center. He'll be handling our summer camp programming, all of our Nature Center programming, and all the other activities that the Recreation Division handles. And I don't know if you met him this weekend, but you'll meet him tomorrow when your field trip comes over to the Nature Center. He and I will both be there, so we'll see you then. Nick Garza completed his water safety instructor certification. That actually saves the city several thousands of dollars so that we don't have to go out of house or hire an instructor to come in and teach all of our lifeguards and our swim coordinators. He took the WSI, and he also has his LSI, yeah. He completed that successfully. We are also in the process of hiring our summer staff. We have hired 11 positions so far out of 32 positions. We did get a great abundance of applications. We are still going through them, still interviewing them, and we are hoping to finish that up by the end of April, beginning of May, and then the training will begin thereafter. But we're definitely not seeing the issues that we saw last year of not getting applications because you guys approved the fee increase. We've definitely have a better group to pull from this year, so thank you. Upcoming, we will be doing repairing and replacing of one of the lake fountains. I don't know if y'all noticed if you travel the lake very often, that area, but the lake fountain is down, so we will be replacing that. Some trash cans, picnic tables, the old stage that we had been using at our events. Those types of stage are becoming more outdated because they're so cumbersome and heavy, and they take several people to lift and carry them and put them in place. You have to lay on your back and crawl under them to secure them. We are replacing that with a lightweight stage that one person actually can carry each piece and put together, and it locks from the top side, and you can do multiple configurations. That will be used at all of our events that require stage or sound or musicians. We're replacing dead landscaping, cutting down dead trees, grinding stumps, installing seasonal landscaping, repair and replacement of the pickleball post that was busted. We've replaced the Patriot banners and then the new Meadows Place logo banners that y'all see out there currently that are hanging, the green ones. All of that is at a price of $52,000, and that is all funded through Economic Development Corporation. Concerts in the park are coming up. That's April 14th. April 4th is our first one, and that is our community feed night. So that was Splash Night, our kickoff to summer night, when we would make the hamburgers and hot dogs and feed the community. Last year, council approved that we would move that to our spring concert series. So that is what's coming April 4th. So thank you for all of those that responded. That night, that begins at 6 p.m. is the event, 6 to 8. Our band is Ghost Rose. And then, of course, we'll have you guys out there helping to cook and serve. Our next event is April 11th. That will be food trucks and the Gary Kyle Band. Gary Kyle is country. The Ghost Rose, which is the first one, is more of a variety band. And then our last concert in that series is May 2nd for a Cinco de Mayo type event. We'll have food trucks and the Tracy Perez Band that night, and that's from 7 to 9. And then the last item I have is I just want to let you all remind you to save the date for July 4th Festival, and that is on a Friday this year. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Any questions for Colleen? Camping was really fun. I was able to swing by for a little bit, but I didn't get to see Will. Kurt had a great time.
Good. Glad you did.
And there's a great video on our Facebook page that Cameron put together
Yes.
that kind of chronicles the event. It looked wonderful. So,
Yep.
well done.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. See you tomorrow. All right. That brings us to the fire monthly report, which we did not receive for the month of February, so we'll be checking back in March. And that takes us to the city administrator's report. Nick?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have somebody who knows people at the city of Stafford now who might be able to help us get more reports, so apologize for not following up with that one. Welcome, City Secretary, Ms. Chandra, our new City Secretary. It's been a good week. She was onboarded last week, and we spent a lot of time together. It's been great so far, and looking forward to a lot of good days in the future. Two quick items tonight. First, I've been speaking with council a little bit about this. Staff has met together to discuss the issue of city email addresses. Some of us have email addresses that are super, super long, and we don't particularly care for it. But in any event, we already have a system where we have kind of a hybrid of email addresses. Some have names, some have titles. And so that already exists. There are those in the organization and even those at the council level who would like to have email addresses that are their names as opposed to titles. And so when speaking with IT, we found out that it's possible to make that switch and actually have both email addresses, both the alderman such and such at, as well as the name email hit the same inbox. So anybody can email either one of those and you can still receive both of them. With that new piece of information, we wanted to offer it up to anybody who wants to have a new email address. We can certainly allow you to do so. You can hand that new address out. So if you want it to be, dmertens at or nhaby at, we can start handing that out. It's your call, or you can keep the alderman one. It's your choice. At the staff level, we're kind of working the same way. There are email addresses that make sense to say as the title, utilities at or courts at, for example. But for me and for some others, we'd like to start handing out email addresses that contain our name. And as we onboard new people, it'll also come in handy when it comes to logins and having to change those kinds of things. So Unless council has any objection to it, we'd like to offer you up the opportunity to have a named email address starting Monday of next week. Is that okay? Everybody good with that? Okay. Questions, thoughts, concerns, grievances? Staff, have I forgotten anything that I need to mention? So both email addresses will work, and they'll work in perpetuity. In other words, we're not looking to shut down the old email addresses anytime soon. When an individual leaves, we can talk about shutting down both email addresses. But so long as I'm here, for example, or a department director's here, that old title email will work and will continue to work. We're not going to shut that down.
I gave Nick some history on how we got here, because I may be the only one that remembers. We'd have it where an employee would leave and their email would be shut down, but it didn't create a return email to a sender that just went into cyberspace. And so we went to titles so that we would always have a way for those old emails to reach someone. It didn't just disappear, and they thought the city was not responding. So I've asked Nick that if an email gets retired, it's held open for like 6 months and goes to a page or goes to another email for some time so that we can capture anything that's still coming into that person. If they've been gone for 6 months and somebody emails them, they'll eventually figure out that they're no longer with the city.
And we felt as though there's really no reason to shut down a titled email. If it's out there, it's out there. I think that once new people come on board, we can retire both the old name address as well as the old title address. And then once those are retired, we can actually put auto replies on those addresses as well. But so long as they're active, we cannot do a auto reply on one that would work for both, if that makes any sense. So wanted to get that out there. The second item, and we'll follow up with council and give you the emails, but it's simply going to be first initial, last name at City of Meadows Place. The other thing I want to mention is Angie Hernandez had intentions to be here. She had something come up and couldn't be here tonight, but we wanted to give her a lot of accolades. She recently passed her Code Enforcement Officer certification exam, which is a wonderful thing. Not an easy exam to pass, and so we're very proud of her for doing so. We always encourage training here, and so now that she is a certified Code Enforcement Officer, that levels her up a little bit in the organization, which is wonderful. We'll be doing some training with a ticket writer pretty soon, and so she'll continue to do a good job as a certified officer, which is a wonderful feather in her cap. So wanted to give Miss Angie some accolades for that.
Going back to the emails, are we going to make the jump to .gov?
That is not a conversation I've had yet. I do not know. I think we'd have to talk to IT about what that entailed.
Well, number one, we'd have to get the address. I can't remember who owns it.
Somebody may be selling it.
But, if we're going to, this might be the time while we're making this other change.
It's a good idea.
We'll run it down and see
What
what's...
ideas?
Yeah.
The school district just did that this year. We switched to .gov. Okay.
We'll run it down and see what we find out.
All right. Thank you, Nick. That brings us to our public comment section of our agenda. I have 2 people signed up for public comments. Mr. Barry Little, would you mind coming up? Right here. Yes, sir. Into the microphone. That would be great.
Give me a second here. Okay. Yes, Barry Little, 12026 Scottsdale Drive. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I am disputing the arbitrary bill in the amount of 306,000 gallons of water. I was one of the 9 residents in Meadows Place that was notified of a water meter failure. My annual average historical usage was 90,233 gallons annually prior to the meter failure. This calculates to 7,519.42 gallons per month by subtracting the allotted 4,000 gallons of minimum amount billed. The remaining average totals 3,519.42 a month. When multiplied by 28 months, is which I was told that was out of service, that equals 98,532.67 gallons. My calculations suggest, based on historical usage, the arbitrary amount of water usage billed was mistakenly overbilled by 207,456.33 gallons. Note, this information was all compiled from data provided by the Eye on Water platform that residents with water accounts have full access to monitor usage by minute, hour, day, week, month, and annually. I was not provided any substantial information on how my usage was calculated. I was billed for 306,000 gallons over a 28-month period. That calculates to 10,928.37 gallons a month. For the record, I have always paid what I was billed by the City of Meadows Place on time. I was never given a bill based on my historical usage, regardless of requesting it via written communications and multiple phone conversations. No calculations with an explanation of how the arbitrary figures of usage were calculated. I paid the arbitrary usage figures to avoid any disruption of service. I'm formally requesting a credit, a refund, or some sort of reimbursement from the City of Meadows Place in the amount of 207,456.33 gallons of water usage. Respectfully, a Meadows Place resident since 1999, 1 square mile of wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Barry.
Sure.
We will be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Monica, Miss Black.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Monica Black. I live on 11811 Montecito Court. I missed the last meeting, but I really enjoyed my first meeting 2 months ago. However, there are still a few things that I would like to see what we can do. I noticed that on the dirt path from the water treatment plant to Kirkwood, there used to be a trash can there. It has disappeared. It was close to Kirkwood. So now people are just throwing their trash everywhere. What's happening to the trash can? Will it be replaced, or what's going on there? A second thing, I asked in an email if we can do a CPR course for adults. There was an incident about 2 years ago involving a small child, and a lot of the people who came out to help were cautious because they didn't know what to do. Luckily, CPR was not necessary at that time, but a lot of people said, I wish we could get our knowledge updated. So is that something we can organize? And I'm also, again, about the intersection of Amblewood and West Park, West Airport. I was told that the convex mirror is not an option. Can we look into getting either stop signs or stoplights there? Because it is a very dangerous intersection and traffic is getting more and more intense. Those are the three subjects I would like to raise with the council tonight. Thank you for your time and for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Ms. Beck. I will be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any more public comments? We've just started the written notices for public comments. Anybody else want to come up? Okay. All right, moving on to mayor and council comments. And I'm going to kick this to Mr. Stagley.
So the bikeway project has not made any progress. Centerpoint is being very stubborn in what they will allow. And so Nick, Colleen, and I talked tonight. We're going to try to arrange a meeting with not only the current review group, whose main purpose is to protect the corridor, but also their government relations and maybe the person we worked with on our landscaping agreement in the past, to see if there's another route we can take. They don't even want us to install the stop signs on the trail or the signs that mark the crossing on the street to tell the drivers that there's about to be a pedestrian crossing. I've got concerns with that for safety, and so we just really need to work on what Centerpoint is going to allow. Any questions on the bikeway before I move on? Next is Dorrance. They are quickly moving towards finishing. I'm told they have one more concrete pour, then some cleanup, and so they plan to be done in April. So the intersection of Dorrance and Bloomington is reopened. You can drive it on again. And if there's any questions. Okay.
I should also mention that we're replacing stop signs as well as the street signs right there at the intersection. And so those new signs will have the more standard uppercase letters. And then we're also putting a city emblem on the new signs. And so we'd like to continue that all the way down as we continue, down the corridor.
All right. Did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment. The pleasure of serving on both the council and the EDC. We had an EDC meeting last week, and one of the things I wanted to mention is that we are subscribing or purchased invested in a software data management tool called Placer. Our communications director, Cameron, is also working with the EDC, and that tool is going to give us a lot of information to help us do two things. One is EDC is in charge of developing commerce in the city. Basically, tax revenue is what we're looking for. And so part of that Placer investment is to bring new business. The second part of it is to help the current businesses increase their business, increase their either foot traffic or share a little bit about how they can become more competitive in this environment. So one of the things we're going to have, and it's in planning stage right now, is have a booth at the concert coming up April 2nd. We'll have people from the EDC staffing
April
that
4th.
booth.
Yep.
April 4th, I'm sorry.
No worries.
April 4th. I put, 4-2. And they will have a flyer describing a little bit about what the EDC does, but also asking for input of what businesses they might want to see here in Meadows. It may be something that we can help accommodate and definitely target as we work with brokers and people that are looking at investing in future locations. So that's it.
Thank you so much, David. I'm really excited about what's happening at the EDC right now. All right, that moves us on to our regular agenda. We're going to start with number 1, discussion and consideration regarding ordinance number 2025-11, appointing Ryan Freemuth as attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Texas as assistant prosecutor in the municipal court of the city of Meadows Place. On March 7th, Mr. Ryan Freemuth was appointed interim assistant prosecutor by Grady Randall's firm after Tracy Middleton resigned to accept full-time employment elsewhere. He has attended 3 municipal courts by the time of this meeting and has presided prosecutor for 2 of those, and he's here with us this evening. Would you mind coming to the podium and introducing yourself to council? Thanks.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Freemuth. I have been an attorney in Texas for about 7.5 years now. My first 3 were as a prosecutor in Galveston County, where I presided over initially a misdemeanor docket, which included JP municipal appeals and regular criminal cases. Worked my way from there to a juvenile docket and then a felony docket, at which point I eventually switched over to criminal defense, where I worked at a firm for a few years, and last year started my own practice in criminal defense. I became interested in potentially looking into some municipal court prosecution. I think that it is an important task to be performed for the safety of the community, and believe that I can be an asset in managing the safety of the community through that fashion.
Thank you so much. Councilors, do you have any questions for Ryan? All right, well, we appreciate what you do for our city, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That moves us on to agenda item number 2. Oh, never mind. I have to consider it. Sorry. Sorry about that, you guys. Sorry about that. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Just real quick, Mayor. This is for the assistant prosecutor, which is really called so because in state law, the city attorney is our prosecutor. But I do want to let you all know that we need to also bring a backup. In years past, we had a backup prosecutor. And so we're going to have to look at doing that as well. But Ryan, don't get sick until we do. Thank you.
Please. Thanks. Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second without any discussion. Oh my goodness, where did my thing go? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now we're moving on to agenda item number 2, discussion and consideration regarding resolution number 2025-10, accepting the auditor's amended engagement letter from Belt Harris Petchesek LLLP for 2025-2026.
Mayor, we are not ready for this item. We hoped we would be, but we need another month.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't. It hasn't come through yet. So we were optimistic that we would have everything ready, but
we don't.
We don't yet.
Can we just table it?
Table
then?
it.
Great. We're going to table it. Moving on to agenda item number 3, discussion and consideration of ordinance number 2025-10, amending City of Meadows Place Code of Ordinances, Chapter 51, and adding latent leak adjustment procedures. This is a follow-up. This resolution authorizes the mayor to execute the mutual. Wait, nope. That's the second one. That's number 4. This is a follow-up from a discussion of at the previous council meeting. Based on the feedback from City Council, the attached ordinance amends Chapter 51 to create a new section that creates procedure for latent leak adjustments, including proof of leak, proof of repair, city procedures to give adjustments, rules on how and when adjustments can be applied for.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just for recording, since we're not broadcasting, this came up when we had the issue with the meters and the issue with the faulty meters. What we realized is not only did we not have a process for that, we did not have one for latent leak, and so this is updating our ordinances to accomplish that.
Any more discussion? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to agenda item number 4, resolution, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2025-11, authorizing the mayor to execute a mutual consent letter authorizing a 1-year extension of the city's agreement with Safe Built Texas LLC for plan review and building inspection services. This just authorizes the mayor to execute the mutual consent letter, authorizing the city to extend the terms of the existing agreement by 1 year until March 22nd, 2026. All provisions and pricing from the agreement shall remain in effect. And we have a representative from Safe Built here this evening. If you want to come to the podium, thanks.
Good evening. Thank you all so much for your time. I'm Deanne Myros. I am representative from Safe Built. I am currently the contract account manager for you guys. We are just looking to renew as the current contract has expired. No fee increase, as you stated, so should be fairly easy. Any questions from council?
I'll make a motion. We authorize the mayor to enter this agreement.
Okay. I have a motion. I have a second. With a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate it. That moves us on To agenda item number 5, discussion and consideration related to mayor and city council terms of office and election schedule. I asked this to be on the agenda this evening. I believe this has been on the table before, a little bit before my time here. Really, this is an effort to create stability and sustainability for our city. For those that don't know, our current elected schedule is we have mayor and 4 council members elected in a year. They have served a 2-year term, and then the very next year we have 2 council members be elected and serve 2-year terms as well. So this creates an environment where we could have 4 brand new people. We haven't, but we could have 4, like an entire quorum turnover every other year, which would be very destabilizing for our city. So the proposed schedule, we have our city attorney here to help us through this process. Thanks. The proposed schedule would be 2, 2, and 2, and 3-year terms. That would be what we would be working toward. So this item is on the agenda to kind of get the council's temperature on this, to discuss this item. We're really just looking for input tonight. Yep, absolutely.
This email came from our city attorney a few days ago explaining process and explaining what it would look like. Mm-hmm. So if you just want to take a minute to look at the schedule there, kind of explains how something like this would work. When we went through the charter a few years ago, one of the more challenging pieces of it was trying to figure out how in the world to make the transition from 2-year to 3-year terms and then transition to 2, 2, and 2. It's a bit of a puzzle, but they were able to do it. So this kind of mirrors what they did back then.
But I want to be clear, this is not the charter.
Yeah,
like
sorry,
this is not the charter. This is just turning our election schedule into a much more stable place for Meadows Place. Did you guys have any thoughts or questions?
I know when it was going through charter, it made sense. It's what most other cities do. I believe, Counselor, is that correct? That they have 2, 2, and 2 and 3-year terms. It would just line us up with what the cities around us have. It does provide a lot more stability, especially when we bring on a new council member. They spend a year trying to get to know everything and then a year to do things, and then they're gone. So it would give a little more stability, a little more time for people to get more invested in the city and in the process. So I'm all for it.
Right. So what you guys are talking about are sort of 2 types of step change. The first is staggering the terms so that we don't have the potential for mass turnover and losing the quorum, as the mayor mentioned, all in one fell swoop. The second issue is term limits and extending those term limits from 2 years to 3 years. I've regularly had conversations with elections administrators, and, one thing that cities don't often consider, and I just want to make sure it was in my email as well, that one of the disadvantages to moving to 3 or 4 year terms, we're talking about 3-year terms here, is that you move from a plurality vote in every election to a majority vote in every election. So if your candidate does not pull 51% of the votes, if there's more than one person running, you have to have a runoff election, and that can cost money. So that's one thing to consider. So you've got the stability, more stability, because you've got a longer term, but then you've got the potential for additional cost and runoff elections. The other thing I want to mention, just to make sure the council considers it, is that you lose, by going to a longer term, you lose the ability to appoint aldermen in the event there's a vacancy. You have to have an election to fill those positions. And so, if, again, staggering terms, that's an easier call, but because there are some disadvantages, it's always important for the municipality to consider those disadvantages before they make that move.
Rick, you may be able to speak to this a little bit more. Thank you, by the way, first. Great information. Have we ever had that issue before where someone didn't get 51% of the vote that you can remember?
The last election I remember that had 3 people in it was when Mark, Terry, and who was the other woman that ran? And I mean, that's been, yeah, that's been 25 years.
Okay, so not a common occurrence.
Correct.
Okay.
We had 3 in my election as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot because the other guy didn't actually actively campaign.
Yes.
I think the bigger concern is the ability to appoint,
Correct.
especially if someone leaves midterms because, like John, where he moved out of town. Because holding a mid-year election, we are not going to be able to count on the county to do it for us. Doing our own election is going to come with some barriers as well as some significant cost. And so we may be better off going to 3 people and stay on 2-year terms, just have one of the people move over.
Yeah, I would concur, because I think that's going to be the issue is if somebody moves,
Right.
that really is and the cost of that election is $5,000 to $7,000.
I think an election run by the county was still, what, $6,000-$7,000? And so for us to run our own election, we're probably talking 10 to 15.
That is something to consider.
We've had a number of
That has happened.
Yeah, several times.
And thinking about that, okay, so Mayor, you'll have to tell us how you feel about it, but right now we've got a mayor and then 3 council members up 1 year. So a mayor and a quorum of council. And then the next year we have 2 council members up.
Right.
And so if that change were to occur, it would still be a quorum of council every other year. So that reality still exists.
Correct.
So it'd be a mayor and 2, and then 3 council. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas right now it's a mayor and 3 and 2 council.
I mean, yes, it can happen. Even if it takes 2 cycles, they're still going to get their majority if the will of the people wants it. I'm not as concerned with that.
What if we change the mayor's term to 3 years, and that changed that cycle so it's every alternate year? And I don't know if that would...
I think that takes away our ability to appoint a mayor as well, which has happened before.
Okay.
It also doesn't change the fact that you've got a quorum up every other year.
Right.
Which I think is what the mayor
That's
was
true,
trying to-
since we're still not...
Yeah. The thing is...
Her vote doesn't...
And again, this is not the charter. It's not the charter.
Yeah.
But when they were workshopping this a few years ago, the idea was 2, 2, and 2 gives you less than a quorum every year.
Yeah, and the vote was six votes versus 5.
And that was an interesting component too. We couldn't do that in a general law city. But yeah, the mayor would then have a vote. But that was, we can't do that.
Right.
You also need to look at the optics on this. The conspiracy theory that will be floated on Facebook is this is somehow some kind of power grab. And that's just the reality we live with. And then so how do we explain it?
Right.
And so we talked about in our communications workshop, our visioning session, maybe this rolls into the visioning, how do we want the council to be elected in the future? And is it important to the people on how we do it, or should we just keep it the same?
I like that, including it in the potential visioning workshops. Okay. What are your thoughts? All right.
Probably best to, we can discuss it further then,
Yeah.
but I think a change is warranted from what we're doing now.
Okay.
To Rick's point, to have that vote means that there's going to be some education that has to happen.
Absolutely.
Or it's it's still going to be as before. So we've got to, and I'm not sure we have time between now and November to do it.
Right. All right. Well, I really appreciate your input on this. Are we tabling it? We don't need to vote on this, right? Okay, there's discussion. Okay, fantastic. Everybody feel good about moving on to agenda item number 6? Great. Discussion and consideration regarding resolution number 2025-12, removing Courtney Rutherford and designating a new check signer, Chandra Phillips, for the city accounts at Independent Bank and designating primary check signers effective immediately upon passage of this resolution. Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next 3 are very similar to this. This is just city business, getting our new city secretary on all of the accounts. All right, moving on to agenda item number 7, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2025-13, designating Chandra Phillips as an authorized representative for the city's tax pool investment account. I have a motion. I have a second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to agenda item number 8, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2025-14, designating Chandra Phillips as an authorized user via the city's Lone Star account. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 9, discussion and consideration of resolution number 2025-15, appointing City Secretary Chandra Phillips as the plan coordinator and city contact for the ICMA RC 457 Deferred Compensation Plan. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That brings us to agenda item number 10, discussion and consideration to cancel the regular city council meeting on May 27th, 2025 and schedule a special called city council meeting on May 20th of 2025. This is to accommodate the swim meet schedule. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, that brings us to the end of our regular agenda. We are moving on to consent agenda. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. We are going to recess our regular session. Do I need to read this part? Okay. We're going to recess our regular session to convene into executive session as authorized by Chapter 551, Texas Open Meetings Act, Government Code, Section 551071-1A, to seek or receive attorney's advice on pending or contemplated litigation, Section 551071-2, to seek or receive attorney's advice on legal matters that are not related to litigation. So we will be moving into the conference room. All right, we are reconvening from executive session. No action was taken. With no further business to discuss, we are adjourned.